you. Thanks. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Thanks to Letha and PopTech and Scott Goodstein for introducing Eaton to PopTech. I'm really honored to be on this panel with Jason and Ariel. I love the juxtaposition of scale with Jason traveling across America, me migrating cultures and continents, and Ariel exploring travel into space. I'm excited to welcome you all to Eaton, DC, and to share my story of how my search for home led to Eaton. Behind me is the first, hold on a sec. Behind me is the first full disc color picture of Earth, taken in 1967. I love this photo. It's one of the first times people could see what Earth looked like from afar. It's a powerful reminder of how, when we zoom out, we can see that despite our differences, we're all inhabitants of one Earth. When we zoom in, there you all are, gathered for one moment in time at 12th and K this weekend. I started at Eaton with a vision to transform hospitality into a force for creativity and impact. It was important to me that Eaton create a sense of belonging, that they transcend a community-driven, commerce-driven space to become a community center. As you engage with DC, know that halfway across the world is our sister Eaton in Hong Kong, my hometown. In an era of global uncertainty, it's heartening to see the Eaton ethos take root and grow in both East and West. There wouldn't be an Eaton today without the transcontinental bicultural migrations of my parents. In the late 60s, when he was a teenager, my dad departed Hong Kong, his hometown, to arrive in Montreal. He found belonging among a group of Hong Kong students all studying in Canada. One day he visited the Eaton Center. He remembered feeling a sense of wonder that stays with him till today. When he first asked me to come up with a hotel that would reflect the needs of the rapidly changing world, he asked me to call it Eaton. He met my mom. That's me, that's not my mom. He met my mom, a first-generation Taiwanese American in Detroit. That's the house she grew up in. They moved to Hong Kong in the 80s and I was born there. When I was only 5 months old, my mom took me from Hong Kong to visit Detroit for the first time, to this house. She told me every night I'd point towards the front door and point towards home. I spent every year divided between Hong Kong and America for the next 28 years. If any of you are bicultural or immigrants, you'll relate to this feeling. My world was expanded because I grew up in the East and the West. I belonged everywhere, yet nowhere. I wasn't fully at home in Hong Kong and I wasn't fully at home in America. What was home? There's a German word, Heimat, which means home beyond a physical place. That really resonates with me. Homeland as not a location, but an emotion. Salman Rushdie wrote, "Writers in my position, exiles or immigrants or expatriates, are haunted by an urge to look back. Our physical alienation from India means that we will not be capable of reclaiming precisely the thing that was lost, that we will, in short, create fictions, not actual cities or villages, but invisible ones, imaginary homelands, Indias of the mind." I love this idea of imaginary homelands. It's poignant and more relevant than ever to the 21st century, when we're more connected yet divided than ever, when analog's been discarded for digital. Wherever I am, I'm both an insider and an outsider. Home to me is a space in my mind and heart. It's an emotional, spiritual belonging. I found home in kindred spirits, books, music, family, films, stories, Buddhism. I found home among creative and subcultural communities in New Haven, Hong Kong, Berlin, the Himalayas. I took those experiences and my training in anthropology and film and channeled that into designing Eaton. There's an idea called the third place, coined by Ray Oldenburg in 1989. It's a place separate from home and work. Classical examples are coffee shops, churches, libraries, parks. They're essential for civil society. We built Eaton as a third place. My intention is for people to spend time at Eaton and feel like it's their third place, their home away from home. To experience a deeper belonging, like a piece of themselves was reflected in what they saw. To emerge nourished and inspired. And through the intentionality we put into our design, artwork, our programming, our community work, that's come true at both Eatons for so many people from all walks of life. They've shared with me and my team how they feel an immediate deep connection with Eton, whether from a book or record in their room that meant something to them, a piece of art and what it evoked. A detail like our gender-neutral toilets marked for some people in Hong Kong and DC a very emotional experience of feeling at home. They felt acknowledged for the first time in a public space instead of marginalized. Before opening our Etons, we sought out local talent who are rooted in the communities of art and culture, music, impact, wellness, and food. We held listening sessions and we asked people, what can Eton do for you? When I moved to DC before the opening, I took a road trip across the country with Eton's first filmmaker, Jesse Littleberg, Sheldon and Sebi from the Eton DC team, our film crew, and my 2 dogs. We visited Houston organizers protecting their homes from oil refineries, Vietnamese farmers in New Orleans who prevented a landfill from being built. We ended our journey with Sebi's mother in their homeland, the Piscataway Indian burial grounds outside of DC. One of our first stops on our road trip was to Hamatsa, an indigenous sustainable living community in New Mexico started by Jesse's parents, Deborah and Larry Littlebird, a Laguna Santo Domingo Pueblo storyteller. I remember sharing with Larry I carried a deep yearning for a non-existent homeland. Larry gestured to the vast lands around us and said, rocks used to be stars. The desert used to be underwater. This is all your land. This is your home. Larry's words reminded me of the image I started today with, the first color photo of Earth from outer space. We're all home on this Earth, an Earth that should not be owned or divided, and one day we really will all return to the stars. Now that you have some greater insight into Eton's origin story and how my search for home informed its creation, I'm excited for you to reflect on what your own third place means to you. Thanks.